Oates?
Here.
Commissioner Laird?
Present.
Commissioner Milne?
Sure.
Commissioner Nicolason?
Here.
Chairman North?
Present. Bert, would you mind coming up and leading us in a word of prayer?
We'd all bow our heads for the Lord. Merciful Father, we thank you for the opportunity we have living in this country to be able to govern ourselves. I thank you for these commissioners that are help guide us in our county. And Lord, I just ask that your mercy and grace would be upon them today, that their decisions would be that which brings not only glory to you, but helps this company or helps this country and this county develop itself. And Lord, I just ask for you to place in their minds the things in which will best serve your people. I say this humbly in the name of our Lord, Savior, and risen King, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Bert. All right, would you all stand, pledge allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, Bert, you and Joanne are up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Pleasure to be with you this afternoon to give an update on the Collective Health Trust and what's been going on. As your two county appointees, to my right is Ms. Joanne True. I'll kind of walk through the update. Feel free to ask questions as I go through it at any time, and I'll certainly Joanne can add to anything that I have to say as we go. I think you all should have received a one-page update, and the first item on that update is the Center Street move. The Health Trust has moved its permanent home to 421 South Center. In addition to the Administrative Health Trust offices, this building includes a collective space. This is a space on the first floor that will be used for community groups and other nonprofit entities to host meetings, trainings, basically a community gathering space, and that can be provided at no cost. So hopefully that will be a good benefit for our community. From a long-term perspective, the building will be paid off in 2031 and then becomes a long-term asset of the trust, and allowing us to direct more funding into the community through grants and programs. You all should have also received an invitation to an open house on December 18th. So I would urge you, if you're able to attend, please come and take a look at the building with your own eyes. I think I've been there a couple times now, and it's still a lot of boxes and stuff getting moved in, but I know the trust is very excited about the opportunity that this building will provide to continue to do the good work here in the community. Moving right along, Converse County Memorial Hospital did reach out to the collective with regard to a loan request to purchase the Summit building, something I'm sure you're all very intimately familiar with. At the Collective Health Trust, and certainly as the chair, I like to keep an open door policy, and will entertain any discussion with anyone that wants to talk about how to better healthcare and the health and well-being of our residents. So we have met once with their leadership, and the trust has sent them a due diligence request for information that went out very, very recently, and so we'll continue to work through that process and that discussion. Always being cognizant and diligent that there are potential restrictions within the transaction documents that may come into play. As this moves forward, we have more information, we'll be happy to report back to the commission on the status of those discussions. Grants. Our fall grant cycle just concluded, and there was approximately, well, let me see if I can get you an exact number, $1.48 million in general operating grants that were awarded by the Collective Health Trust to our Natrona County nonprofit partners. Entities such as the Youth Crisis Center, Central Wyoming Counseling Center, Child Development Center, Community Health Center, among others. I think 25 in total received grants to continue the work that they're doing to support our community. As you may know, grants typically are multi-year grants from the trust, usually 2 years. So that we kind of have this cycle twice a year, and then odd years and even years. So that was our fall grant cycle. As with these awards, the trust has invested a total of $64 million back into the community since the inception in 2020. Obviously, this includes our obligation to WMC Banner, which is contractually provided every year. And happy to say that with the market up, we continue to be doing very well financially as well. The independent monitor, again, a topic I think that you all have some familiarity with. The 2025 independent monitor process is essentially complete, and we will be launching that work again in January of 2026. As you all are aware, there were a couple areas of partial non-compliance, if you will, that were identified by PYA, and there have been discussions between PYA and Banner WMC leadership to address those areas. We continue to, at the trust, be available for consultation. Certainly want to see Banner WMC succeed, but always being mindful that we have an arm's length relationship and are contractually obligated to ensure that compliance. On the programming side, we just completed the NCSJ Summit, and that's the Natrona Council for Safety and Justice, which is a group, a program that the trust started several years ago that unites local agencies to reduce incarceration and homelessness, improve stability and lower costs. This really sprung out of a sequential intercept model effort that was undertaken several years ago, and this was kind of the reboot of that. This took place November 4th through the 6th, and we were very lucky to have local and state leaders gathered for a re-entry simulation, a system model update, and then future planning. Commissioner Coates attended, and so we thank you for your time in attending. We had representatives from the Wyoming Supreme Court attend, and we look forward to continuing that effort moving forward and many more successes. And then finally, the trust in 2026 will launch a strategic planning process. When the trust was first launched, one of the first things that was done was to engage in a very in-depth strategic planning process, and we're going to reboot that. This will include community feedback sessions, focus groups, and data analysis to identify how the trust can deepen our impact on the health and well-being of the residents of Natrona County. Part of that will be a look back and figure out what's worked and what's not worked, and making sure that we're continuing to focus on really what the priorities are in our county. So I look forward to that. Again, as I said, this will be a fairly lengthy process, and so the new plan is scheduled to be released in October of next year. And so from a 30,000 level view, that's what's going on at the Collective Health Trust. Ms. Drew, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add?
I don't. I newly appointed, and again, thank you for the appointment. I am doing my best to get caught up. It's a lot to learn. I appreciate the fact that you've given us the opportunity to come and present to you. I think that, and I did discuss this during my interview, I think it's probably imperative that you schedule us routinely so that we can come and give you updates. It's a lot. This is a lot to go through, and I know we've only got a few minutes to present, so I would just recommend setting up a routine meeting schedule for us. But I don't think I have anything else to add to the report that you have in front of you. Certainly, if there's any color on any topic that you'd like to add, we can do that to the best of our ability. And again, just a reminder about the open house on the 18th, and certainly encourage you all to attend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both for being here today. Joanne, what committees have you been appointed to?
I am on the Finance Committee, and I am on the Nominating Committee.
I think you said, Eric, 1.48 million was awarded, and that was just for the fall cycle.
That's correct.
One of the things that I'd like to have a better handle on at future meetings is approximately what percentage of the collective's business is directly related to the provision or availability of healthcare services in Natrona County. There's a perception, including of my own, that more than 50% is, and maybe that's time, I don't mean dollars necessarily, but I mean the collective's time, staff time, is spent more with grant, the grant funding cycles and the process of helping out a lot of really important nonprofits. But I wouldn't say that a lot of those are directly related to the quality of healthcare in Natrona County. And I think some of that will be continued engagement with Banner. Some of it would be engagement with Summit. But in my mind, at least, I'm just speaking for myself, probably the majority of those efforts, as I'd like to see, would be related directly to the quality of healthcare in Natrona County, because I do continue to hear from some of our fellow citizens of, shortages in these kinds of areas of care, specialty care, and, maybe some outcomes that, yeah, they're anecdotal, but we're still hearing that. So I hope that it's a continued focus of the Collective Health Trust.
Could I ask a clarifying question, Commissioner?
Go ahead.
Okay, through the chair. So you'd like percentage of grants and time spent roughly on that quality of healthcare?
Well, I'd like to have
roughly.
a ballpark
Okay.
understanding, and I don't think it's necessarily out-of-pocket dollars involved, because, what do you start counting? The $11 million to Banner every year versus the 1.48 times maybe 2 spring and fall cycles. I don't know that, in that case, the 50% or the majority of the, money goes here versus here. I think it's more, where's the collective personnel and staff time being spent?
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
And if it's
request.
90% on the grant funding and the recipients, then in my mind, it's a little out of kilter.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify the request. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman, if I might,
Go ahead.
thank you, Commissioner, for that question. I think it's a fair question. I think when we define what is healthcare, because when you look at the transaction documents, it's the health and well-being of the residents in Natrona County. And so I think reaching a common understanding of how we're defining healthcare related, because I think, you could, from a broader perspective, that the health and well-being is served by a lot of these, but they're not directly, to your point, providing healthcare services. So I think happy to run that down and provide that data. But I think reaching a common understanding of the kind of the parameters and how we're defining things will be key for it to be meaningful, I think.
Well, and I don't know if it's possible. So I look at Youth Crisis Center, they do extraordinary work. We're strong supporters financially and otherwise of them and what they're doing. But could you say that that's healthcare services? Maybe. So I think that it's just that needs to be a continued like maybe it's part of your strategic plan. Come, make sure that's a big part of it, because that's, I think, what people are looking to this commission to, preserve, protect, improve.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, and I'm glad you brought the strategic planning up, because I would urge you those types of concerns. I mean, you'll all have a role in that strategic planning process. We'll have input as key stakeholders in the trust. And so those types of concerns and questions, please bring those forward and make sure that they're included from your perspective, not only ours.
Mr. Chairman, one more area, that is on the PYA and the independent monitor situation. One of the partially met items was the advisory committee that the Wyoming Medical Center is supposed to be operating, and it wasn't actively being operated. Those are my words, just paraphrasing kind of what I saw in the report and what I heard from people. Do you know what the current status of that advisory committee is, and is the Collective Health Trust, is there a representative that attends those meetings?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, so it is still active. There have been conversations between WMC Banner and PYA around that. I can tell you from the trust standpoint that we want to make sure that succeeds. It's not our obligation to dictate how that's done. And so we've put the onus, and we're happy to support WMC Banner to make sure that it's functional. But we're not going to do the work for them. Secondly, we have kind of doubled down on the trust's responsibility to nominate folks to be on that committee. And we have nominated Kylie Gibson, our CFO. Board members can't be on it, but staff can. And because of her previous employment at WMC and intimate knowledge of the finances, and that being another area where there was partial compliance, we felt like it was a natural fit to have her appointed. So she will be on there. We'll be getting reports back from her, every quarter, I'm assuming. So from the trust standpoint, our involvement is taking that much more seriously and making sure that we're getting people on there that are going to be active and push the envelope.
Any other questions? Appreciate you guys coming in today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Joshua, you're up.
Mr. Chairman, may I see?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Am I on?
You're on.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing us for 15 minutes today for UW Extension to come in and give some updates. I did send that this morning, but I did also bring printed copies because we're still, actually, if you look at it, there's still 2 focus areas that don't have updates, and I will send those in. One of them is because Donna has had a lot of life things going on, so we don't have an A&R update, but we will give you that information kind of toward the end of the year to make sure that you do know what we have worked hard to do. And then CNP, they are going through some transition, which I will cover. But in general, as Extension, we have kept the search going for the horticulture assistant coordinator position, which we worked on in our budget cycle. And then once we had all that approved, we have gotten that posted. We did have 1 failed search and are continuing to search for it. We have another round of interviews that we hope to have some invites to a commissioner that would love to sit in on some interviews to help us with that position. That is the first part of our general updates. We have gotten another 4-H admin in, and we have another 4-H program assistant that will be starting with us soon. Overall, that's kind of our general extension office updates. We have a lot of accomplishments throughout this year. 4-H youth development programming was at a very, very consistent time frame for us. We saw very active of 21 clubs. We saw a lot of project leadership that was taken by our members. And they were very, very involved in our fair. And we also had club members that were involved as junior fair ambassadors, creating, so that was 13 members this year. We altered some things, had some trainings that were different, but we had them actually be a part of serving fellow exhibitors know how to engage with the fair system. We had a lot of support given to all of our members to get them to state fair. We handled all their entries, took care of getting all of their information forward so that they could enter and present at state fair. We had a lot of excellent livestock and static project placements for state fair. And then we also had a very engaging cloverbud program. We had a lot of activity meetings for our cloverbuds, which is the age group of 5 to 7. We had their every 2 months, which we're transitioning to monthly meetings because of the popularity of them. As of this next 4-H year, which starts on October 1st, we were seeing such a popularity. We've now gone to monthly, and we've been getting anywhere from 15 to 20 children that come for those cloverbud meetings. We also had an active year for volunteer development in the 4-H program. We had a one-day training for volunteers, but we also use that as part of then recruiting newer volunteers into the designated roles that we have, because we have usually around 30 club leaders. Even though we have about 21 clubs, there's co-leader roles that they hold. We also have around 43 project superintendents, and then other committee that either engage with fundraising or helping serve in a different capacity, but as volunteers, not direct project relationship, but more so helping with outreach or helping with coordination on how members can be engaged in our program. Overall, I'll go next to the CVH program. As I'm the only one here representing here today, all the other educators did have commitments, but they wish that they could be here. We've had a lot of success with our Wyoming Walks program. As you're looking at the CVH portion of this, in this year, they had 8 counties that participated in 24 and then 14 this year, but it was all started here from our Natrona County Wyoming Walks program that the CVH educator in this county did. Jody, I think you all remember her, who used to be the county coordinator before me. I'll highlight that because she did an amazing job of formatting this to take it statewide, but it all started within Natrona County. She's also been doing a lot of meal planning classes that and you can see Meal Plan Like a Pro. She has done that for the residents of Natrona County repeatedly. I'll highlight Ready, Set, Explore as a project that I work on, and Jody, in addition to Haley, who is part of our birth team, works on, but it's free, family-friendly activities. We actually got an Albogan Foundation grant where we're able to offer education incentives to all of our participants that come as a part of the program that help their outdoor activities. It's been very successful as its first year, and this year we've been getting anywhere from 20 to 40 families that complete the program, and I would say a quarter of them are Natrona County residents because it's offered to everyone statewide. But, lots of excellent partners in there. I'll continue on to, because a lot of that is more related to Jody, and I'm hoping that she can also come and give you an update. For Sensible Nutrition Program, that's the last page. I do have some numbers coming in, but they have been a little slow on getting those numbers because I know that I sent you an update in July. We lost 2 of our CNP educators as part of the cut to SNAP funding that happened in July with the bill and so as of the fiscal year of September 30th, they also lost some of their state office team members. So in Natrona County, we are down to 1 CNP nutrition educator, and we used to have 3, and we are still working desperately to serve the need. But they're working on the reporting and they're a little slow because their state office also has been seriously reduced in the amount of staff that they normally have. So as soon as I have that information, I would love to send over what we were able to accomplish for this year with our Sensible Nutrition program. But currently, that's something we're still working on just due to the shortness of the staff that are present. But with that general update, I would love to answer any questions that we have for our Natrona County Extension programming and all the focus areas that we're working on, or potential needs that you feel that we could help you with as UW Extension?
Any questions? Pretty quiet board today.
We're always thankful for your partnership.
I appreciate everything you guys are doing over there and the benefit that it has for the county. So,
Thank you. And I'd also like to highlight, thank you to the commissioners. My 3 full-time staff that are on board really like their Christmas bonus. They were very happy when I told them. And they're already working on getting a picture with the office all decorated for Christmas to send over to you to say thank you. So thank you very much,
thank you.
commissioners.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Milne?
how's your vans and vehicles, everything going good?
Yes, it is. We have, actually, it's weird now. There's less use of them now that we only have one CNP educator. But we're thinking of ways that can be used to serve the community with the one CNP educator that we have, and also with all the 4-H programming that we do.
You don't have to use it.
Well,
You
we
don't have
like
to drive
to
around and
use
waste
them.
gas.
The challenge is that we are eventually going to be looking at something different for the van, just because it has gotten to a point where it's of age where we need to really look at something different. But the rest of the vehicles are steady and doing well, with the exception of the Pacifica. I think we're going to need to be taking time to go ahead and let the Pacifica go, as it's gotten over that 120,000 miles. So, and I don't know who I would talk to about that process, but that would be our next look. Is the Pacifica is served its term with us. So,
All right, thanks.
Doesn't look like we have any other questions, so
okay.
appreciate it. All right,
Thank
Thanks.
you, commissioners.
thank you. Yeah, Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas to your staff too.
Yes, I will tell them. They're going to be happy to hear that.
We're a little ahead of schedule, Ashley, but I didn't think that would bother you a whole lot.
Don't think so. All right, so I'll just kind of start in order. So first thing I have for you guys is the facility use agreement between the county and Casper Natrona County Health Department. So this agreement, I believe it addresses everything that the county needed. We also met with the health department and kind of talked through some of the provisions to address some of their concerns as well. And so I'll just kind of highlight a few things in here. The term of this contract is for 5 years, but once it expires in those 5 years, it'll be automatically renewed for 1-year terms unless written notice is provided that they wish to terminate the lease. Additionally, we added in here a reporting requirement, which is section 5, which is page 2 of this lease, or this facility use agreement rather. And basically just annually they will provide, or the health department will provide written reports to the county pertaining to the uses of the facilities and the public benefit benefit provided. And they may do additional reports as you all.
Ashley, would you go into a little detail on
Yep.
section 4 and 6?
Section 4 and 6. Okay, so then we'll go back to section 4. So it reads, in consideration of the authorized uses of the facility by the health department and the public benefit provided during the term of this agreement, Natrona County waives the requirement of payment of rent. So because they're providing a public service, we're basically saying in here that we'll waive any kind of rent payment in consideration for their service.
Okay. And 6?
6, so this is assignment and third-party agreements. So the health department may not assign this agreement in whole or in part without the prior written consent of Natrona County. So if they're gonna have anyone, like a third party, come into the building, they have to get the county's written consent. The health department may enter into agreements with third parties that provide services consistent with the authorized uses referenced above. So that'd be in section 1, it talks about authorized uses. Provided that the term or duration of said agreements are not in excess of 1 year, and the health department informs the county of the agreements in its reporting. The health department agrees that the county will be consulted and its consent obtained prior to Health Department entering into any agreement with any third party, including state and federal government contracts that have a duration in excess of 1 year. So basically, they can enter into agreements, they just have to kind of get our written permission, for use of that building. After that, it's kind of pretty standard language. I am still, just so you all, I'm still waiting on the insurance certification for the new building. Hope and Risk was trying to help me to get that. I don't think we just haven't received it yet, but we'll get that here shortly. One of the things that we did add on here, or add into here, that's a few of you had mentioned to me before, was concerning the flex space in the new health building. And so after speaking with our facilities manager, Garrett, he just explained that the flex space is 2,500 square feet of unfinished potential workspace. That's basically just an open room, and it's labeled as flex space on the building plans. And so we just defined that in here. And then we stated that this space shall be used in compliance with the authorized uses under section 1 of this agreement and with the mutual agreement of both parties. So we would have to agree for that use of that flex space. And really everything after that is pretty just standard language. Do I have any questions concerning this agreement?
Didn't look like it.
Okay. All right. So, and this agreement is on the consent agenda for tonight. So the next thing we'll go to is the WIC lease. I know we had mentioned it a little bit before or in last meeting. So upon reviewing this agreement, there was a couple concerns that we had. And after speaking with the health department. And so last Wednesday, I reached out to the state to ask if they could make a couple changes to this lease. I have not heard back from any of them yet, but the changes were that we would like the county to be notified of any changes or anything in this lease. So we asked that the county's contact information be included in the notices section, which is section 8K of the WIC lease. Additionally, section 8N, which deals with termination. Originally, the only person who could terminate this agreement was the state. We asked that they change it to where either party may terminate the lease. That we may terminate upon written notification. And so I proposed some languages, and we're just still waiting on the state for that.
So we haven't got that back yet, so.
I have
Did you-
not.
Did you have this listed on the consent agenda?
I did not see it on the consent agenda
Okay.
when I looked at the most current
I
consent
just want to
agenda.
make sure if we're waiting for the state to get back to us that we don't vote on
I
something.
didn't
that
see
we
it
haven't
on the
heard.
consent agenda. Except we haven't received anything from the state
Okay,
since I reached out to them last week.
all right, well, I don't believe that we need to move into a contract if we haven't heard back from them and that they're going to agree with it at this point in time, so. Commissioner Nicolason.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ashley, the only additional suggestion I'd have is a signature line addition. I didn't see at the bottom Natrona County's approval as to form and content.
You are correct, Commissioner, and I will reach back out to them and ask them to add that too. since we
Yeah,
haven't heard.
and I think then that's consistent with our facility use agreement, because this would be in addition, in excess of 1 year.
Ashley, when you get that back from the state, when you get an answer back, would you forward that on to us so that
Yes.
we can all take a look at it? Okay.
I will definitely, as soon as I get from the state, hopefully they'll get me that somewhat soon, because I know the state was pushing for it, so hopefully they'll respond quickly.
Okay.
So then okay, so then the last thing I have on this little list here is the Semino, pumped storage project letter. You all had mentioned last commission meeting that you wanted a sample letter drafted, so I did draft a simple letter with what information I had. I will note that Commissioner Nicolason did send out another letter that had a little bit more detail with more information that he had on the subject. He sent that today, and you guys should have a copy of that as well.
Just for information, some of the information that we have on that Commissioner Nicolason provided, we do not have evidence that that will actually affect that area. And I'm speaking as a professional in that area. That is my area of expertise, and so I don't have any problem with us specifically addressing areas that we know for a fact are going to be the case, or that we support the Game and Fish's recommendations and stuff like that. But as far as what this will actually do to the Miracle Mile, we don't know for sure, because there's a lot of variables that are involved. I'm not saying that we aren't concerned about the Miracle Mile and what it could do, but I don't think that we need to be putting something in here that is stating that it will directly affect something. That's the position of the Game and Fish Department. I believe that they're the ones that are the experts that are going to be contributing to this and making those comments. They have the people that are working for them and everything else. So I think we need to leave that in their court and not step into that position. Some of the things that we know for a fact, that with the pumping station directly coming out by the dam area at Semino and then putting that water back in, that there is going to be some dramatic effects on the stability of that reservoir. That will directly affect not only the fisheries, but some of the other things that are associated with it, including the safety of citizens of the state. Because if you're out there ice fishing and you've got a foot to 2 feet of change in the ice every day, you'll never have stability in the ice conditions. Same thing with boating and some other stuff. So there are those areas that I do believe that we can state very clearly, and that we do need to state the potential impact that the Game and Fish Department has expressed as far as the potential impact to the bighorn sheep and the hunting in the area, in some of those areas. There is a possibility. I would like to just talk about this a little bit more and see what the rest of the commission's feelings are on this, but work something out so we can get what we want in this letter specifically, and make sure that we get it approved at the next meeting so we can get it sent down. So, Commissioner Nicolason.
Mr. Chairman, with respect to the Miracle Mile provision or language in the letter I drafted, looking at the bottom of the first page, it says the Miracle Mile fishery along the North Platte River is approximately an hour and 15 minutes southwest of Casper. I don't think there's any controversy with respect to that sentence. It says this stretch of the river is a famous blue ribbon fishing area for trout. I think that's undisputed. The dam at Semino Reservoir is only about a mile upstream of the Miracle Mile. I don't know if there are any concerns with the facts that are set forth in that sentence.
I do, because you've got Cordis in between the two.
Well, how far upriver?
Well, Cordis is in between Semino Dam.
Well, I didn't say in this sentence that it's.
But you said that
Cordis
it'll
is-
negatively affect the trout.
No, I'm not on
population.
that. I'm not on that sentence yet, Mr. Chairman. It
Okay.
says the dam at Semino is only about a mile upstream of Miracle Mile. So factually, is that accurate? According to Google, I think it's generally, and when I use the word about, I've got a little wiggle room there. So then the next sentence says, our understanding is that the trout population in Seminole and downstream along the North Platte River will be negatively impacted due to changes in water level quality and temperature. That's based upon the presentation we had from John Masterson and some of the information that's been provided since. Again, it says our understanding, so I think that leaves some wiggle room if we gain additional understanding in the future that may be in conflict directly or indirectly with this sentence. But I don't know that there's any controversy about the trout population in Seminole Reservoir being negatively impacted. And I think you just indicated that you agreed to that.
The downstream and along the North Platte River is the part that I want removed. I have no doubt that it will directly affect the fishery in Seminole, but I would say the fishery in Seminole, not just the trout,
Well,
but the other stuff. Downstream
if
is questionable.
If I can address that. Well, exactly. So if it's questionable, that's why I had our understanding. But also, we could put maybe negatively impacted, which I think would be entirely appropriate instead of will be negatively impacted. And then I think we could leave it as drafted. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Chairman?
I don't really agree with that. And because we don't, yeah, it may be,
So what,
but it also might not be.
well, it doesn't say, it
I
just
know.
says it may be. It's not a dispositive statement.
Then I would be more inclined to say has the potential of impacting and not maybe of impacting. Does that make more sense?
Has the potential to
Impact,
negatively
to negatively impact
impact.
the fishery
Fine.
below, Seminole Reservoir.
Then moving on to the next sentence, it says Natrona County's position is that the proposed project should not move forward if it threatens the viability and quality of the Miracle Mile fishery, or if it would cause other substantial negative impacts to wildlife or to the health, safety, and welfare of the people in Natrona County. Again, this is, I think the key word there is if. And so in
Well,
that respect,
the Miracle Mile, and maybe I'm looking at more semantics than anything else. Miracle Mile is in Carbon County. It is not in Natrona County at all.
well, I
I
didn't say that it was in
know, I'm
Natrona County.
just pointing out specifics. The fact that if we rely on the expertise of the Game and Fish Department as far as what their recommendations are, we know that they have concerns, then that's what I believe that we need to put our interest in and not put ourselves in a position where we're claiming to be the final say or the experts on how this is going to affect the stuff downstream. But the fact that we do recognize that we do have a potential, the Game and Fish Department has come out and said that there are mitigating circumstances that need to be met before they could support it. And those are the areas that I believe that we should focus on, is
Mr.
those
Chairman.
mitigating areas that the Game and Fish Department has identified, and not those areas that we identified, because one, we're looking at scientific evidence versus political. And scientific evidence holds a lot more ground in these type of hearings than political statements do. So that's the reason why I prefer to stick with what's strictly scientific and what can be shown. And that's the reason why I believe that the Game and Fish Department needs to be the one that we support whatever their decision is and not the other way around.
Well, I don't think we're asking them, the Wyoming Game and Fish Commission, to support what Natrona County has or may suggest. It does say in two places, we support the Game and Fish's recommendations for the project, and it says at the end, and that all recommendations made by the Game and Fish be followed. I know that Director Bruce of the Game and Fish Department testified that certain impacts could be mitigated and certain impacts cannot be mitigated, including the impact, the negative impact on the trout population. Now, I don't think that that was specific to Seminole or to the North Platte River or the Miracle Mile in particular, but that was testimony that can't be mitigated as the negative impact to the bighorn sheep population also, in her opinion, can't be mitigated. So the impact can't be mitigated. So I do think we can follow their lead. This is more a position letter from Natrona County based upon the information we presently have. And I think that with the change that you wanted to include at the bottom of page 1, that it has the potential to negatively impact, I think that it is an accurate position of where we are at this time.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with, I mean, I understand what you're coming from and what you're saying, but I would be a lot more comfortable saying that the Game and Fish Department has recognized the fact that certain aspects of this project cannot be mitigated, including the potential that it have on the fisheries in either Seminole or downstream. And,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
I think we need to acknowledge that anytime this commission sends a letter in recognition of a pump storage project, support for different forms of legislation, then it's all a form of political posturing. So let's not pretend that we're not engaging in politics when we're sending letters as a commission. Second to this, you know, it's obvious this isn't ready to go. So why don't we just workshop this some more and move on from there?
That works for me.
Sure.
Go ahead, Jim.
So, yeah, just to kind of hang off of Commissioner Coates' coattails there. Either way, whatever we're looking at doing, how I see this letter is as he says, a political statement trying to get more information from the developer, from Game Fish, from whoever, in order for us to make an educated decision. That's all this is. It's just a poker. It's just something to spur them along, to get people in front of us, give us more information so that we can actually do something that makes sense, rather than just shooting from the hip. We're not saying we're subject matter experts in anything. It's just a letter saying, hey, we feel that this is a potential issue for the county of Natrona, whether it happens in Fremont County, if it happens in Carbon, Converse, wherever. If it affects Natrona County, we should be involved, or at least interested parties, and that's all that the letters, either one of them, state, is that we're interested parties, we need more information, and that both of them are saying that we're supporting the Game and Fish because of our concerns for our wildlife. I agree that, you know, let's tune it up a little bit more, maybe, if that's what it needs to make everybody happy, but let's not get ourselves as far as what the letter actually is.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
you know, council sent this letter to us on November 14th, and she didn't receive any responses until mine today. So I'm fine with putting it off. We are under the impression and information that we have a deadline of December 31st. So we have one more meeting. I would encourage everybody on this commission to spend some time with both drafts, come up with your own language, redline something, share it with the group, share it with legal counsel, so we can get to a comfort level to submit something before that deadline. Thanks.
Sure.
Go ahead.
And just for me, I don't need a red line. I'm happy with either letter. It's not the intent and purpose of the letters. Both of them are the same in my mind, and I don't need more time, but to make everybody else happy, it doesn't matter. That's why I didn't respond to legal, is I was fine with their letter as well.
That's the reason why I didn't respond either, because I did read through it, and I didn't, I thought it was pretty, it stated what we needed to state, but it didn't go into a lot of extra detail.
If everybody wants to think about it a little bit more till next meeting, we've got a little bit of time, but we have to make a decision and pull the trigger next meeting.
I agree.
Well-
Commissioner Laird.
I've been in a lot of discussions where it was an argument over nothing. And this is one of them, in my opinion. I would support your letter. I'd support Peter's letter. You're the chairman, so I would say send your letter out. I don't think either one of them is going to have any vital impact on this thing other than let them know that we're concerned. And we're all concerned about what may happen with fishing wherever it may touch in Wyoming waters. But to get too under the weeds, I think we ought to just send a letter and get it done. A lot of things fall through the cracks here in this commission, and I'm not proud of that. I don't know that anybody's proud of that. And so why not just send your letter? I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Peter wants to send his letter, let him send his letter too. I mean, everybody's equal here. And so be spending this kind of time on this letter seems like a waste of time to me.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Okay, Commissioner
Let's-
Nicholas.
in looking at the letter that you and Commissioner Milner are okay with, it says in paragraph 3, this project will have a substantial impact on the health, safety, welfare, custom culture, and socioeconomic viability of not just Carbon County, but also Natrona County. That is a dispositive statement that exactly of the sort that I didn't feel comfortable with making as a commission. And so if you're comfortable with that sentence, it surprises me based upon the comments that have been circulated today at this meeting. So I think, take a look at the letters. I think that it is important to have something that the commissioner, at least 3 of us, are comfortable with. But that was one of the main points in the original draft letter we got that I was uncomfortable with, and I would imagine there are other commissioners that are similarly uncomfortable with such a dispositive statement. I don't even know what the custom culture and socioeconomic viability of Natrona County is, basically. So anyway, I look forward to figuring this out on our next meeting.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion. I move we send the chairman's letter.
Do we have a second?
Second for discussion.
It's just a letter. We may want to send a follow-up letter at some point and really get more knowledgeable about the whole issue. I think that our fellow county commissioners in other counties have a pretty good letter. I think it's a matter of just simply putting someone on notice that we're concerned about certain things that could be detrimental to our county and our state. And I think either letter provides for that. And so I think we should approve the chairman's letter and send it out. And not let the politics of this commission dictate which letter. Because I could easily make a motion to send Mr. Nicolasen's letter also. I could go either way. But to nitpick the thing is not, it's just something I'm tired of doing.
Go.
So on these letters in general, I'm not that invested in this particular letter. This is something that we had a nice presentation by John Masterson. I think he did a good job. The bulk of this is in Carbon County. Will there potentially be impacts here? Maybe. If that's what we're after, maybe spelling out what our concerns are is a good thing. Just saying, we support game and fish isn't always productive for us if there's other things that we must consider. I do share some of Commissioner Nicolai's concerns about the will effects. Some of those things are pretty definitive, and it's hard to say what those exactly are. So, for me, it's not really something that I'm going to add a lot to. So the two of you that feel the strongest about it, I think you two should get together and come up with a letter on it that's mine for discussion.
Just for clarification, I didn't pen this letter. We requested that legal look through here and come up with something so we could identify it and examine it. And that's what was done. So I'm not saying that we can't change the verbiage on either one of them. I'm just saying that, we just need to have something, a product that we're proud of, and we do need to get it taken care of and get sent off. So just so everybody is clear on that, I don't have any personal attachment to either one of these. I just want to make sure that what we say are items that we can identify and defend. And so I'm not saying that we need to send the one that came out illegal, and I'm not saying that we need to send the one that came out that Mr. Nicolason gave to us. I'm just saying that we need to have something that we're proud of, that we can say, and we're comfortable with all the verbiage in it. So, go ahead, Commissioner Mel.
Yeah, apparently y'all have better crystal balls than I do. I always hate using will and things that assume that will be true in the future, because my crystal ball's cracked. It's just a piece of junk. So with that being said, Commissioner Nicolason made a fairly good point with that statement that is in the legal's version. If we look at the verbiage changes that were made to his version or his letter, I'm fine with that. If we went with the legal's version, I'd suggest we need to change that verbiage that's inside that, from will to may, or could have, or maybe, or something like that, because we can't say for sure that there would be substantial impacts in those areas. Whereas, either way, I don't care. I'm again, this is strictly to get people, that developer in front of us, to talk to us a little bit, hopefully, so that we have some more information or understanding. I feel like we are out in left field playing the game by ourselves, because we have no idea what's going on other than what we were presented here just a while ago, and some letters that were provided by Carbon. But that's my thoughts.
Well, I agree on the letter we got out of the legal department. I would get rid of will and put could potentially. But I do agree that at this point in time, we probably ought to get together and see if we can come up with something that's a little bit more palatable. And present it at the next meeting. We can send it out to everybody and have you look at it and see what you think, and then present it at the next meeting so we can approve something to get sent off. So,
What about a letter that just is sent to them that says, we're concerned with the negative impact from your project in Natrona County and their wildlife and fisheries? And we agree with what's being stated in is it the Converse County Commissioner's letter?
no,
Carbon County Commissioner's letter. And we certainly would invite you to send a representative down here, get on our agenda, and explain it to us. What's wrong with that?
I don't see anything wrong with that.
I mean, it's just open-ended and simple, and it's what we want to say. It doesn't provoke anybody. It's just saying, come down and let us know what you're doing, and and we can ask you some questions.
Well, there are two different letters, or two different entities that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
send
This,
both.
this one actually goes, not to the company, but to the governing administration, and they're the ones that are gonna pass or deny this, or they can delay it. So that's what this is for, but I would say that we do need to change the letter at bare minimum, go from will to potential, could potential.
What would you get? Why don't we do it tonight? Why don't you change the letter tonight and have legal retype her letter and let's get it sent? If it's a word or two or a sentence that Mr. Nicolason wants to add, put it in there and get it signed. This doesn't take this long to do something this simple, in my opinion. You got people waiting out here.
So,
Mr. Chairman, there's a pending motion that's been seconded.
yeah, there has. I'll wait until Commissioner Laird comes back in and we'll have a vote. Because we have got that, and it was for discussion. If discussion is over, when Commissioner Laird comes back, we'll take a vote, and then vote on the current motion that we have in front of us. We have a motion by Commissioner Laird and a second from Commissioner Coates. So all in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, motion fails. Commissioner Milne, would you? I'm reading through the corrections, and I know you got stir. I know it makes sense to you.
No corrections, those are just my notes, other than circled on the bottom. There are no changes. Other than what we discussed.
For me, I would have to instead get rid of the Miracle Mile on the second page and just say the fisheries, because that includes Seminole, Cordis, and the Miracle Mile. If you say
Impossible?
if you say the fisheries, it includes all of them. If you otherwise, right now,
Mr. Chairman, I think you're mixing.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
go ahead.
so your suggestion is, Natrona County's position is that the proposed project should not move forward if it threatens the viability and quality of fisheries,
Yes.
or if it would
On,
cause
on
other.
the fish, basically the fisheries from Seminole, Cordis, and the Miracle Mile.
So if we just say
Include all of them is what
fisheries,
that's what
plural.
I'm asking. Yeah, just eliminate,
Yeah,
because that covers all three locations. It's not just one.
I'd be happy with that, change. And then the other change is the one you suggested at the bottom of the first page, where it says the North Platte River, downstream along the North Platte River has the potential to negatively impact.
And may potentially negatively impact. may potentially have a negative impact. Those are the two main changes that I would have.
We make those changes this evening. Direct people to do it.
Are you good with those changes then?
Yeah, I am, and I'll hand this to council. Do you want to look at it one more time? You good?
If you got those changed, then
Yep.
I'm fine with that, so. If we get those corrected, then, all right, at this time, I would entertain. So,
Because you sent the changes, because you retype by legal and prepare for your signature. Gotta have my mic on.
yeah, so that we can hear it. and they
I
can
move that we
too.
accept the changes that the two of you have discussed, have legal put them in writing, prepare it for your signature, and sign it and send it out.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Get that, Tracy? Okay, we had the motion by Commissioner Laird, seconded by Commissioner Coates. All right. We will move on. Sabrina, would you like to come up? You and Glenn?
Nice to see you, Glenn. I haven't seen you for a while.
Thank you. It's good to be seen.
You've got some great people working out there.
Thank you. I agree.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for having us. We have a short presentation for you all so you can see the maps. This is regarding the airport PUD. It's been a PUD. The original PUD was applied for and approved in 2002. After speaking with Glenn and looking at where that overlay is, we think that there was one parcel that was inadvertently left out of the original PUD. There were some different parcels that were purchased, some in 1952 and some in 1981. And we think just that was kind of maybe a point that they forgot, didn't realize that it was not added. So this is the current PUD where all the blue is. And this little parcel to the west is one that's owned, that was in the 1981 purchase, and so we think it just got inadvertently left out. We're looking at this PUD as just an amendment. We consulted with legal to make sure how we can, it's basically just an extension of the current PUD for the airport. And per our resolution, section 5.14D, we can amend this under the approval criteria. I'll stand for any questions, and Glenn, of course, can probably answer a lot more than myself.
Okay, and just for the record, this property is already owned by the airport.
Mr. Chairman, yes, it was purchased. I think there was a couple different purchases, but I think it was 1981 and 1984.
Like I said, it's just for the record,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes we know the answers before we ask, but so it's on the record.
Correct.
And that way, you're not adding any additional properties. All you're doing is including this in the PUD.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Milne?
anybody leasing that property from you or utilizing that property for any purposes?
Chairman, Commissioner Milne, I believe we have that under lease right now for agriculture, for grazing. All of our agricultural leases have a provision that if we would need to use the property for other type of economic development, we have the ability to be able to change that, but I believe that that property right now is, under ag.
Is that gonna affect that leaseholder at all if the PUD is extended?
Chairman, Commissioner, no, unless we were looking at developing it for some other purpose, it would not change the existing use.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Nicolason?
Why don't we just leave it alone? And give me the 60-second version.
Chairman, Commissioner, so as we've looked at some development opportunities, if you're talking to somebody who may be looking at developing property or leasing the property in that area, it's difficult to talk about what the use can be when you could have a development that would go over two different types of zoning uses, urban agriculture on one and the PUD on the other.
Okay, that makes sense. And to the best of your knowledge, it was just an oversight that we didn't have this as part of the PUD before.
Chairman, as far as I know, was this an oversight?
There are a lot of deeds in this packet, so thanks for your effort and putting all of them together. It's a bit of a mess.
And Mr. Chairman, Mr. Nicolason, I'm sure you could read every one of them. They weren't real clear.
Any other questions? I think this one was pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I don't think we have to think very hard on this one. So, do we need a motion or anything on this, or?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I believe there's a resolution for the consent agenda,
Okay,
so it wouldn't be a motion.
all right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Since we have an esteemed guest here in this commissioner discussion, I'm gonna ask Jeremiah to come up and just kind of give us a little update, if you don't mind.
I think it's esteemed, I thought it's victorious. How you doing?
I have to push that button or switch mics.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. It's good to be here. For the record, I'm Jeremiah Riemann, proud to head up your association. I just received a question of why are you here? It's a good question. When I took this job, which will be 7 years ago in January, one of my commitments or priorities was to get out to all the chambers around the state, and I've been able to do that. But part of that for me is getting into your chambers when you're hosting a meeting. Helps me to see how you operate, the formalities, the informalities, the issues, the facilities, and to be able to translate that back in Cheyenne when we're discussing issues. Lots of great things that I've seen over time. I've seen transitions of commissions from being rather informal to some being more formal. A good example is Goshen County. When I went there, initially they were really informal about how they operated and interacted with the public in those meetings. And then, of course, they had a spring where a lot of rain and the roads got a bit messy. And so people got pretty excited. And in fact, the chairman at the time got a battery thrown at his head, kind of reminiscent of President Bush and the shoe, literal battery thrown at the chairman.
I think I'd rather have a shoe.
Agreed. So they went to a much more formal approach to their meetings. I've seen that happen in Weston County and elsewhere. I went to a commission meeting in Niobrara County, and Commissioner Elaine Griffith was out sweeping the steps, and it was a reminder to me that not everybody has fast staff or others to to do those. Sometimes it's the commissioner that's taking on that job. So it just helps me, and I enjoy the opportunity to engage you in your place of work. Mr. Chairman, I'm certainly happy to talk about anything you might like, and you certainly, I think, understand what the benefits are. Talk about the legislative session and some things that I see ahead. There's important things there for you, but yeah, if there are any thoughts, questions
I have
from the
one.
commission? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Laird.
talk to me about county administrator. I'm a guy that has wanted to get a county administrator here for the last 3 years, and I'm probably the only one. Some other people have suggested it or talked about it. Some of our employees think it would be a good idea. But I hate to say this, we have a lot of things that fall through the cracks. And you saw the thing here with the letter. Very simple matter, really. And we do have a lot of businesses very serious, and we seem to handle it fairly well. But I'm going to discuss a deal that seemed to have slipped through the cracks. It's a big, bad number. And I'm going to talk about it tonight. So I would really like to see a county administrator. Now, I may be wrong in that. I'm not saying I'm right that we need one. I'm just, for some reason, I think it would be very helpful. I was on the city council here, and we have a mayor who's appointed by the other people, and I think the mayor should actually run for being mayor and not be appointed. The public should have a say-so there. But that isn't the way the statute's set up. But you had a city manager. And the council, they would get very well-prepared documents to vote on. Good information. And so here, and I don't know if all commissions are like this one. Nobody's ever thrown anything at us that people come and throw words at us. But, I guess the First Amendment, that's their right. And so I'm just going to I'd like to hear your thoughts on the subject.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Laird. It's a great question. First, I'll just start off by saying, by statute, you are authorized to have a county administrator if you would wish to have that. We've certainly seen an evolution, even in my 7 years in this position, from just having a couple of counties that had administrators. Teton County and Sheridan County have for a long time had county administrators. We've seen a couple of additional that have come forward in the last 3 to 5 years. Campbell County and Sublette County both now have full-time county administrators. Interestingly enough, at least the counties by population that are largest are 2 that don't have county administrators. I would suggest if you look across the landscape of the country, we're a bit unique in the fact that we don't have county administrators. It's not to say that that's this, we have many states that are like us, but if you look at those around us, generally they do have county administrators. Colorado, almost exclusively, every county has a county administrator professional that would look over those day-to-day tasks. I do see a lot of success from the counties that have employed county administrators. If you look at, I'll just use Sheridan County, in kind of my tour of commission meetings, I went there and expected to attend a multi-hour commission meeting, and they hosted a public meeting and were done in less than 45 minutes when I went there. Part of that was that the day before they had and it was a public open meeting, but they met with all of their directors. But a big part of that is that their county administrator has worked to establish a foundation for them, has prepared all the materials, has prepared possible motions that could be brought forward, and has really built a structure that allows them to function very matter of fact and work through issues very quickly. So I don't think there's a perfect system out there. There are other counties that do occasionally look at it. Carbon and Sweetwater are two that come to my mind that have considered it, and right under the right circumstances, I wouldn't be surprised if they moved in that direction. But happy to dig more for you and get you more resources, but hopefully that's a quick little overview.
Well, I appreciate your comments. Another thing that I remember from the city was a deal like this letter. Have somebody sitting there, and these guys would do what they did, which was finally collaborate a little bit. And it'd be typed up on that computer, and it had been handed out to us by now. I think it takes an administrator to get all that done. We have a great secretary here, and but she works for the county clerk. And so I wish she was just here full time, and pretty much is. And she's worked here a long time. I always thought she'd be a great county administrator because she knows where everything is and where everybody is, and she doesn't take any crap off anybody. But beyond that, we've discussed the cost of this. Have you been told what the cost is to some of these counties of doing this?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head what each of those offices might cost. Some of them, it's a county administrator and a small staff. Some, it's just the county administrator. If you look at Teton County, it's Teton County, right? It's a bit more expensive to live there. I know their county administrators making in the close to a couple $100,000. If you're looking at county administrators in Colorado, you're going to be paying north of $200,000 for a county administrator. That's not to say that that would be the same here, but just to give you a sense down there, that's certainly the market is going to be.
They save the county a lot of money, actually. Spend a little money, you might save a little money.
Right. You're trying to reach efficiencies by making that investment. So I don't want to suggest it's just an expense. You're doing it for a good reason to try and bring some cohesion, and that should be done within the construct of our government. It does take an important person that has the ability to work with the other elected officials because, of course, they were elected. They've got the votes. You're now appointing somebody that's going to be taking over perhaps some of the responsibilities that might have been housed there. So, in some cases it is a shifting of duties, but it takes a good a person that can work within that construct.
Well, this county did have one years ago in the 70s, and the guy was great for what I've heard. I was still in law school, and I'd come here, and he would help me out with certain things I was doing as projects for the law school, and people loved the guy, and he knew everything, it seemed like to me, and I always wondered, and I know why he left, and I think there was a death in his family and that kind of thing a long time ago. I don't remember exactly all of the ramifications of that, but it was never picked back up again by the commissioners, because it was 3 commissioners who was running everything then, and then I forget when they changed it to 5 commissioners, I think hoping that the work would get spread out, but politics being what it is, sometimes there just isn't a unifying force here. And if you had a manager that came in and had all this information ready to go and properly prepared and on top of everything, because we all have jobs and different things we're doing, and so I suppose if we were working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, it might be different, but we don't do that. Some people put in more time than others. Some people are smarter than others in many ways, and but it just seems to me that it would be helpful for us to do that, to get that instituted as a program, and if it falls flat on its face, you can say, well, we tried it, but it may work so well that you may say, God, I wish we'd have done it 10 years ago. I mean, I don't know that. I don't read crystal balls, but sometimes try to. And, but I do like to see what other counties and other states have done, which I've checked into as well. And you're about right on the salaries. I think we thought around here, if you got a secretary and got everything going, it'd be 300,000 probably. But if the guy could have saved us 5 million, it would be worth it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the best I could say is that of those 4 counties that currently have county administrators, I don't think you'd find a single one of those commissions that wouldn't say that it is a good investment that they're making there.
Jeremiah, can you give us kind of an update of what we're looking at as far as the legislative stuff that's coming down the road?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think there are a number of things you need to be paying attention to and being ready to engage on. Just as a reminder, the session will start February 9th. Yeah, that will run through March 11th. They'll run pretty much straight through, no break for the holiday that's in the middle there, but they are going to take some time at the end for what some are kind of casting as their spring break. But that's more intentional so that they can come back on a Wednesday, which is roughly 3 days after they've sent the final set of bills to the governor, and have the ability to do veto overrides. So that's really what they're doing there. So if I remember right, it's a 21-day session. They have the ability to go 23 days based on a couple of days that they had saved from the previous year. One of the key pieces that you'll want to pay attention to is that the governor in his budget recommendation is proposing direct distribution at $105 million. That is a $41 million reduction over the current biennial direct distribution. What does that mean for Natrona County? That's a $1.3 million per year hit projected. Those are the numbers that we got out of LSO. If you look at my last legislative update, you'll find a spreadsheet in there that contains that, as well as the reductions for all of your municipalities. We'll be working very closely to try and move that number back up to where it's at. But the other element that we're working on that would be a replacement for just a straight appropriation is a proposal that would have the state take 8% of the state portion of sales and use tax and devote that to direct distribution going through the existing Madden formula for counties. The upside for that is that it would be in state statute. We wouldn't be going back every 2 years and saying, please appropriate this funding. It also has the ability, naturally, as sales and use tax, at least traditionally, goes up, that you would see increases in those distributions, again, without us having to go back to the legislature. Now, there is always the potential with sales and use tax that we would see a dip. We historically have seen those. I've sort of equated that it's no different than if we saw one of those dips, that the legislature would likely try and reduce direct distribution. So it would just be happening naturally rather than us, again, being at the whim of what the legislature might want to do there. So hopefully we're successful in pursuing that proposal. It's something that WHAM and WCCA are working on jointly. The Appropriations Committee has endorsed the concept. They didn't use the 8%, they put it at 5.6%. That 5.6 is essentially equivalent to $105 million. So we'll be working to, again, get that particular number up. Of course, there are lots of property tax proposals out there that you're tracking. I can certainly go into them, but they're everything from extending the long-term homeowners exemption, which was intended to be a short-term deal. They want to remove the sunset on that, or at least the Revenue Committee does, to proposals that would do away with all residential property tax, including one that would then replace that with sales and use tax. Lots to unpack with those things. In other work, we're working on a bill that would provide some additional powers to cities, towns, and counties relative to historic horse racing governance. Right now, you really only have the ability to approve those facilities or deny them. Well, in your case, because you've already approved, you essentially are bound to continue approving if those come forward. So we're trying to build it such that you can say no, and if necessary, under the right parameters, to revoke permits that might have otherwise been granted. That bill has been sponsored by the Management Council and will be headed to session. FNRPA, I know you just talked about the pump storage project. Of course, Tristan and Micah are at your disposal. Please do engage them. I know that you have on that particular project. Very happy to say that the governor has recommended approval of the standard budget to continue funding those two positions in our office. And the governor's also requested an additional $1 million to the FNRPA, the Federal Natural Resource Policy account, for other needs that you might have. Of course, there is already funding in there. This is just an additional to help where it's needed. Let's see. I think those are the big legislative things. There's some other stuff that I could point on, but those are the things that I would note right now. And if you have questions on other things that are on your mind relative to the session, I'm happy to discuss those too.
Jeremiah, I appreciate you letting me know that you were going to be in town today. And like I told you, I wasn't sure if we were going to even be able to give you any time at all because I wasn't sure exactly how full our agenda was going to be. But I do appreciate you coming in. Do you know why the governor wants to reduce direct distribution by that much?
I don't have the full answer for you right now. If you read the governor's budget letter, he calls it the customary 105 million. What's interesting about customary is that we haven't been at 105 million for 3 years. And if you go back to the previous governor's recommendation, he had actually requested 110 million. So I appreciate that it was at 105 for a few years there. But thankfully, the legislature and the governor recognized inflation and all the other pressures that you were dealing with and increased it to the $146 million that it's at. He did include in his note that he would have them reject the 105 if they adopted the sales and use tax approach, which I think is a good thing. The only other thing I'll say is that I and a number of commissioners are going to meet with the governor next week to talk about this very issue. One of you is certainly welcome to join us for that, but I've got a number of commissioners lined up to go in and discuss what the impacts will be back home from that proposal.
Okay. Any other questions for Jeremiah? Well, I appreciate you coming in and seeing where we have our meetings. And
Well, I appreciate it. It was not my intention necessarily to get in front of you. I enjoyed just as much sitting in the room and absorbing, but if I can emphasize anything, we're always here for you. Please pick up the phone, text, whatever. Let us know how we can be of assistance, and look forward to enjoying the rest of the meeting.
well, I appreciate the updates too, because there has been so many things that have come out of the committees this year. It's very difficult to keep track of where they're at or what even has a realistic possibility of passing. So I do appreciate you. Commissioner Milne.
Jeremiah, our county attorney's been working on some stuff with WLC for some work under a new statute, and it's kind of vague as to whether the state is actually going to start how the payments and reimbursements are going to happen with the as-built, state lands as-built. Do you know anything about that, or?
Sorry, Commissioner, what was the reference to? I'm sorry.
s- if you want to come take a look, just a real quick gander. I'm just kind of concerned we're going to get stuck with a bill somewhere. I can forward this to you if you want. This. Can I forward it? Have to go take a look at it. Maybe work with our county attorney. We don't want to be paying for state mandated things that we don't have a budget for, especially this time. Now, you know what I mean?
That's certainly something that's on my mind is additional unfunded mandates on top of the cuts that you're currently facing. So,
Right. Thank you. Didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, he did. Don't believe that for a minute. He meant
Only
to.
for you.
He was just waiting for the opportunity. So, thanks, Jeremiah.
Thanks.
I'm gonna skip down to legal updates real quick, if you have any. Go on to
I don't really have any. One of the major things that I was working on was on this agenda.
Okay,
And then I know that Lita did send an update on Wednesday.
okay. Okay. Anything for commissioner discussion? Okay. Since we don't have anything, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for legal advice on litigation and personnel.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Laird, seconded by Commissioner Coates. All in favor, say aye. We are now in executive session.
Idea.
Um, We're back from executive session. No action was taken. And at this point in time, we will recess until 5:30. I'm still here, so. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We'll call this meeting to order. We'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Mild, second by Commissioner Nicolason. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We will move on to the public hearing for TA 25-01, the 2022 zoning resolution proposal text amendment to the 2022 zoning resolution to resolve inconsistencies, contradictions, and clarify language. Proposal and recommended change thereof were presented to the county commissioners on 10-7 and again on 10-21 of 2025. So at this point, take staff report.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is a request for a text amendment, as you mentioned. The amendment was requested by you all to clarify language, provide flexibility, and reduce redundancies in the regulation. This is meant to be a working document and to be updated or amended periodically to address issues or changing conditions. The amendments were published for 45-day public comment on September 30th. Presentation of the suggested amendments were presented to PNC and BOCC in October and November. No changes were made after the October 21st BOCC work session that we discussed. Those amendments were all added to the website, and nothing has changed. The original ones were added on September 30th, and then the slight modifications were added on October 21st after that work session. I do not have a presentation for you tonight because it'd be a bunch of words. And I'm still a little hurt that you guys didn't laugh at my jokes the last time. So I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway, multiple agencies such as County Fire, Road and Bridge, legal, local sign companies, Development Department, Planning and Zoning, and BOCC have contributed to these amendments, present and past, with some departments, notes that we had that people had recognized in the past that needed to kind of clarify some things. And we have received no public comments, written or verbal, to add into this. And P&Z recommended a due pass to you all at their meeting in November. And I'll stand for any questions.
Sabrina, just for clarification, this rezoning, this is only to correct the issues that have been identified in our current zoning to make it cleaner and easier for people to read and to clean up the issues that have been identified over the last 3 years. Is that correct?
That is correct. This
Okay.
is not a rezone.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have any questions for Sabrina? Okay. Wait.
I would really like to see it. To me, it's, sometimes lawyers refer to it as a living document, you know, reading living document which changes, which they modify, which is what I hope this thing becomes, where we get a rule that just doesn't seem, it's too harsh or it doesn't fit, that we can see clearly enough to modify it. It's for the people, you know, to make life better for the people and to protect their property and their way of life. So I'm hoping we're directing our attention that way.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Laird, those are some of the things that we've found that I can tell you in UR and UMR zone districts, you were not allowed to have chickens without a conditional use permit. Yet the city, those zones are generally right next to City of Casper where you can have that. So it's kind of relaxing some of those restrictions and being able to do things that kind of don't make much sense.
Thank you.
Well, and that, Sabrina, Commissioner Laird did bring up the fact, this is a living document. When we identify enough items that we need to go through and address, we will address that at that time and we'll go through the full process so everybody has a chance to understand just exactly what we're looking at. But this is not something that's going to be set in stone for the next 20 years that we aren't going to go back and correct as things come up. So, but I did want to make sure that that was on the record, that everybody understands that that's all part of it. That's what we should be doing. You know, unfortunately, the last one we had went from 2000 all the way to 2022, and it wasn't updated, it wasn't corrected or changed as it needed to be changed, and that's part of the reason why we ended up having such a big document in the past, and now we're working on correcting a lot of those issues. So, and that doesn't mean this one's going to be perfect, but it does mean that we will work on it in the future, and we are going to continually identify areas that are either complicated, that people don't understand, or that we don't understand, or that are contradictory within themselves. So,
Yes, sir, that's true.
okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of consideration of TA 25-01 to approach the lectern. Okay, for the second time, I'd ask those wishing to speak in favor of consideration of TA 25-01 to approach the lectern. For the third time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of consideration of TA 25-01 to approach the lectern. Okay, seeing none, at this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of consideration of TA 25-01 to approach the lectern. Okay, at this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of consideration of TA 25-01 to approach the lectern. Okay, and for the last time, I'd ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of consideration of TA 25-01 to approach the lectern. Okay, seeing none, I close this hearing. For discussion, Commissioner Milne.
I'd like to move motion to approve TA 25-01, proposed text amendments to the 2022 zoning resolution as advertised and as approved by, recommended by the Natrona County Planning and Zoning Board to us.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Milne and seconded by Commissioner Coates. Do we have any other discussion? Okay, at this time, all those in favor, passing TA 25-01, say aye. All opposed? So moved.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, thank you very much. And I do want to let you know that on the 2013 subdivision regulations, and that will be a major overhaul and probably not before you for at least 6 months. But want to let you know that it's being worked on.
You got a lot to work on there.
I do, but we need it, so
Yeah, we do.
we're doing it.
So, and we appreciate that. And I know Commissioner Milne would also, and along with a few others, the actual land use plan needs to be updated in addition to that. And that's actually where we'll look at what areas are zoned as what. And so we can correct, because I know there's a lot of areas that have to be addressed on that need to be corrected. So, okay,
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Milne.
thank you for all your work on this. I really do appreciate you, the county attorneys, and everybody else that worked so diligently on these amendments. Like they did say, the intent was never to be a document written in stone. And so all your efforts have paid off. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sabrina, for the short amount of time that you have worked for the county, I do want to thank you for everything you have done. This was a major project and you got it moving in the right direction in a short amount of time, and I do appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, commissioners. I had a lot of help.
So, okay. Anybody else? Okay, public comment. Anybody that would wish to have public comment tonight, please come to the lectern and state your name and address. I'm not gonna give you 3 tries. So, if you want to come up, come on up.
My name's Emily. My friend has a property on Opal, and he got a zoning citation. I'm trying to understand what he's doing wrong and what it would be to fix it, and what any of it is, because I don't understand it. So I came to this in hopes to gain better understanding of the they told me that this meeting would help.
I can tell you that we don't know. We haven't been informed on that, and Ashley doesn't look like she is aware of the situation either, so.
Without more detail, I wouldn't know. I would encourage them to reach out to Sabrina, who was just talking.
Yeah.
She might be able to answer a lot of those questions, and if she has questions, she can reach out to me.
Okay. And then how do I get a hold of her?
Her office is right down here at the end during regular office hours.
Mr. Chairman?
Right.
Yeah,
It's,
go ahead.
Do you have a copy of that letter we could take a quick look at?
I'm having him go grab that right now.
Okay.
Sorry for not coming prepared.
But that's all right. That's one of those that we'll get you taken care of. We'll put you in the right direction so you can find out just exactly what you need to get done, and Ashley can reach out to you as far as that goes too. And
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
can I please have her name and address for the record?
My name's Emily Dundas. My address or his address? 1932 South Cedar Street.
okay, and I believe Commissioner Laird has a question for you.
You know what the zoning violation ticket was for?
So it said, vehicles unregistered, and then some other things. I was having him grab the citation because it had a Wyoming statute, but when I try to read it, I don't understand it. And so
So
I figured,
does he have cars around the house that don't have license plates on them?
yes. But, I was looking it up and it said something about screening, we could, propose a way to shield the vehicles from the neighbors' views,
Yeah.
but that would have to be approved.
Yeah, the best thing to do is get with Sabrina
Okay.
on that, because I mean, without us having all the information
Right.
here in front of us, I don't want to give you bad information.
No, and I understand
And,
that.
you know, and I know Sabrina will have that information that she can help you out on that as far as what to do and how to get that addressed. So,
Should I wait for the citation or should I just come back tomorrow to her office?
I would bring it back tomorrow and bring it into Sabrina down there and have her work with you on that. And she can get Ashley to come down if she needs to. And they can walk you through it a lot easier than we can up here, not having all the information.
Right.
So that way they can take as much time as they need and get that taken care of.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right,
I
thank you.
appreciate your guys' time.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to commissioner comments. Commissioner Nicolason,
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Coates,
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Commissioner Mel, Commissioner.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to have each of their 15 minutes. So I'd
No,
like to have,
No,
I'd like to have an hour.
I didn't give 15 minutes, you know.
Oh, okay. Then I don't have anything further to say.
You know, it's something I wanted to say before Thanksgiving, but this country, when we first came over here, they tried socialism. They tried it in the colony. And they found out real quickly that people found out when they found out that it didn't matter how hard they worked, that everybody got the same reward, that socialism didn't work. And that was when this country really started utilizing capitalism, and that's when we grew. I think that's something that we have a tendency to forget after a while, that there's a lot of people out there that want what somebody else has, but they don't realize that there's a lot of effort that goes into that. And it's not saying that we don't need to take care of those that we have in our community that need help, but socialism breeds complacency, and it doesn't matter where you go, that's what you get. If you don't get any extra reward for putting out an extra effort, then people don't do that. And I used to love listening to the commentary that Rush Limbaugh put out, because he talked about that every year at Thanksgiving, and that's something that it's a great story. And if you haven't heard it, I would recommend that you go back and look that up and listen to it, because it does tell a whole lot about what human nature is and how we do things and how we should do things. But with that, that's the only thing I have tonight. So thank you everybody for coming in. I appreciate your time.